Welcome to a community built of tomorrow's business leaders. Hey guys, I'm William Freitas, and this is the Socius Podcast. Socius, welcome back to another episode. Today, we've got Rebecca Klodinsky.
Hello.
Rebecca, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Great to have you on the show. Tell us a little bit about what you do, particularly with Prestwick Place.
I am a fine jewellery business owner, serial entrepreneur, human being.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Okay. And then naturally, we love diving into what makes you tick and what your background is. So how does Rebecca get into jewellery?
I've got a real knack for identifying holes in markets. I've got a very good sense of what's going on, what's missing and what needs to be done. And that's how it happens for me.
Okay. And so then where did the journey begin for you?
It was a personal thing. Many, many moons ago, my now husband and I were talking about getting engaged. And I had been through the whole song and dance of being engaged. I did have a dirt diamond. I didn't want that diamond. I understood the markup, the inflation around it. I was advised by my jeweler who sold it to me to claim that it went missing, stolen. And she would sign off on the insurance for it because it was insured for over 100 and something thousand. Yeah, right. But the buyback was small. It was peanuts. And I thought, what the fuck's going on? Why? How is there such a big price difference? And I never wanted to put my now husband Lockie in the position where he was being taken advantage of or overpaying or overspending because he's the type to do it big. So I started looking for an alternative option, stumbled on the lab diamond, and I was really at a standstill because there was no one in the country offering or facilitating the sale of a lab diamond. America and Europe were onto it, but we just didn't have anywhere to go. And so the Prestwick Place was born.
So on the back of your now husband buying you a ring, that's what had you start
Well, actually, the business started first. Okay. And then the engagement came after that. I was like, we've got to go. I've got to do this. He's playing football anyway, so it doesn't matter. So
you knew the proposal was coming then?
Oh, obviously. We'd spoken about getting together, but
no.
It's just I didn't want him in a position like that if and when the time came. So I was like, hang on, I'm not the only one.
And what were you doing before that?
Swimwear. Okay. Swimwear company.
Tell us a little bit about that. Dive into that.
Yep, same thing. Early 2000s, I think Instagram had just launched, so I really caught the Instagram wave. We were using the Valencia filter and we were using hashtags and we didn't know what was going on. And this was when we still used lay-by, so you could go in and lay-by things. Do you remember doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So bikinis, for us living on the Gold Coast, you had your high fashion brands, really expensive, or you had Kmart and Target. There was no in between. I'm a uni student. I don't want Kmart and Target, but I don't have the money.
Yeah.
And nothing existed. So that happened.
So let's dive into the mindset a little bit because you can call it a serial entrepreneur. Others might call it something slightly different.
ADD.
But ADD, whatever it might be, attention to detail. Yeah. Picking market trends is not easy. It's so easy for people to think, I'd love to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Where do you think it comes from? What had Rebecca go, I'm pretty good at picking what people want?
I don't set out to figure it out. I encounter something personally and I go a little bit further and I see that it's not there, and that's what gets me going. It's not like I'm sitting there with a formula on how to crack this code. It happens naturally, which is why I think I've been so successful, because it's been a natural progression instead of like a chase.
So it's more of a curiosity, really.
Yeah.
You're exploring certain things and it finds you.
Yeah.
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 A bit like dating almost in a way sometimes.
Yes, exactly.
And so then naturally take us on the Prestwick Place journey.
Okay.
It starts, where did you start? At home? Take us through day one.
Oh, God, I don't even know day one. I just know that I had to get a manufacturer. I needed to get a supplier. I needed to get a jeweler. I needed to do everything in-house. I wanted to maintain the quality and the craftsmanship. I don't remember day one. It's all very fuzzy. I don't know what I did yesterday.
Yeah.
But I'm very hands-on, and it just started with a few emails, I think, figuring out lab diamonds, figuring out the labs, figuring out how to get them, and just making it happen, really. It's just throwing myself in there, asking all the questions, even to people that think I'm silly for asking the questions. And it just takes me somewhere. It will take anyone anywhere if you ask the right amount of questions to the right amount of people. One yes is all it needs.
And so how long ago was it that you started Prestwick?
Before COVID.
Okay, great. So it's about
What
6
year
or
was
7
that?
years,
Yeah.
something like that. That'll date the podcast, but that's okay. And so what sort of challenges did you find? And it's primarily lab diamonds that you focus on now?
Yeah,
You
lab
haven't
diamond, everything lab.
Okay.
So like rubies, emeralds, amethyst, moissanite, the whole
it.
lot.
And how much resistance do you face from people who are like, well, actually, I want a real diamond versus a lab diamond?
Well, they're both the same thing. They're both real diamonds, so I will debunk that if you want.
And I say that antagonistically, waiting for you to say that.
She bit it. Not much resistance. In the beginning, it was very much I was coming to market with this foreign product and everyone was like, what the fuck is this girl doing? What is going on? Lab diamonds, moissanite, what is happening? And I actually have screenshots of competitor brands, big Australian businesses that were talking shit on lab diamonds at the time.
Yeah.
And now they're 180 into lab diamonds. So in the beginning, it was quite shocking. The pushback is minimal, if any. I'm very transparent with our audience. It has been that way since day one, very transparent with the information that I share, the way that I share it. It's no fluff. So anyone that comes to see us already have an idea on what they're getting, who they're dealing with. It's not, behind closed doors, Wizard of Oz type stuff.
And so when you say that, do you mean you've invested quite a bit of time on taking your audience on the journey of you setting up the business, or is it where the diamonds are coming from, their origins? What is it specifically?
It's because it was such a foreign concept in the beginning. How can a diamond be made in the lab? How is a lab diamond a real diamond? How are they the same thing? There was a big space for me to educate. And so I've just been educating and providing endless amounts of information to sort of squash any idea that you had in your head before finding Prestwick Place that this isn't real or it's not right or whatever you're being fed from somewhere else. So there's so much misinformation out there. I'm just providing all of that information over and over and over again. And you can't challenge that because it's the truth.
And so being the pioneer in the space, have you found some advantages or even some disadvantages? What are your thoughts?
Advantages to being very transparent with the audience. It was different with Exist because the swimwear brand, because this is when Instagram first started and everyone just loved pretty pictures of girls in bikinis and it could sell in an instant. But there's a greater demand for knowing stuff. Everyone's so quick to see things now. It's like you've got to get them when they're paying attention or they'll just slide off. So that's the advantage to sharing. Disadvantages, no. I've got no disadvantages there.
Yeah. I mean, it's always been, I guess they say imitation is the greatest source of flattery, right? When your competitors start to follow what it is that you're doing, that's probably just a pat on your back, really. Yeah.
There's a brand on the Gold Coast who copied my coffee table. I just saw they're doing the exact same thing and they even took my coffee table.
There might be a way that we can tag them in on that. And so tell us about before you went into Prestwick Place, tell us about Exist Swimwear. What was that look like? Was there an exit? Why did you exit the business? Tell us more about that.
It started, again, like a passion project for me to fill the void for something that didn't exist. It grew and it grew and it grew and it didn't stop. I've got recognition from Rihanna and Kylie Jenner and Kim Kardashian and it just didn't stop. And it was great and beautiful. And then as I transitioned into Prestwick Place, I didn't have the capacity to ride two horses at once. And you got to be real with that because it's all well and good to be the CEO of different brands and own 500 houses and look like you're managing everything, but it's physically impossible. And the jig is up. We've got to do one thing and do it well. So I didn't exit. It's still my baby. I don't ever want to lose the ownership of that. We're still shipping small orders. I'm just not pushing it, is all. So it's still there. It's still alive.
You're still a shareholder, still involved.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You've got someone running the business.
Yeah.
I love that because I think so many people, like you say, like to have many chinks under their belt, I guess, or many different elements on their CV.
Instagram makes it look like you need that. Like, you need to be doing all the things all the time, knowing all the people, going to all the things and making all the money.
Yeah.
It's not like that in real life.
It's not a beauty pageant of how many roles you've got, really. And so that's commendable, you know, being able to get, actually, I want to back one horse. I want to support one particular venture, and I'm going to give it my all and make it do well. So you have zero involvement with Exist these days?
Oh, no, not zero. Like, I'm still there. I was on the website doing some things the other day.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Not zero, but I don't need it to make money. I just don't want to kill it. I don't want it to die.
Yeah.
And so if it doesn't make $1, I'm okay, but I'm not giving it to anyone else because that was my blood, sweat and tears.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
And is it still growing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah. It's not growing like it was because I'm not pushing it, but it's still there.
Okay, cool. And so tell us about Instagram marketing, because all of the listeners will be keen on understanding what that was like for you and how did you capitalize on that? Naturally, many things have changed in the Instagram marketing space, but how is it that you've taken what worked well with Exist in the past versus what you're doing now with Prestwick Place?
Well, marketing for Exist in the beginning was easy. You know, it had just started, so everyone was there to help everyone. The photographers and the models and the brands on the photo shoots were happy to tag each other without having to be paid for it because we're all in it together, right? We all want followers. We all want success. We all want another campaign gig from this, the models, the photographers, the hair and makeup. So we're working together. It's like a perfect storm. Collaborative. Now, fast forward 10, 15 years, everyone wants something. Everyone wants to be paid. Everyone's got their media kits. Everyone's got their analytics to review, and the audience doesn't give a shit. The audience is not listening because we're sick of being sold to. So it's a different ballgame. With Prestwick Place, I did utilize some influencers in the beginning, but I quickly learned that the only thing that they really want is authenticity, and that's me.
I love that. I'm seeing that with all of our clients and even our content, really. A lot more authentic, content is what is key. So
Aren't you just sick of being sold to?
Absolutely. Yeah. And even it's funny, we've considered whether we should up our production quality, use videographers, and what we found is with clients and with audiences, they resonate less because it's produced, it's way too produced, and there's an element of mistrust with far too produced. So what are you doing in your space now to make content more authentic? Sure, you as a leader, as a business owner, you're authentic, but what do you do to make that transpire into your content?
Well, I'm not doing anything that we weren't doing. I'm actually maintaining what I started off doing. And it's very sexy to have the idea of being bigger and better and getting videographers and a beautiful, aesthetically pleasing place to shoot content. But then you've taken a bite out of Adam's apple, right? Is it Adam? It's out of the apple. And what I'm not doing is falling victim to that. I'm very much aware of what's going on and I'm maintaining that human element. I'm still shooting the content in raw format as soon as the rings and the jewellery are being made, or if we're in the studio or wherever we are, in very raw settings. And that's what we need, because if you're spending $100K on a ring, you don't want it photoshopped. You want to see what it is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a fantastic call. And so what would you say are your tips and tricks for business owners listening out there to learn from your experience, specifically to Instagram marketing? What is it that outside of authentic, I'm sure there are plenty of business owners out there going, oh, I get it, but it still doesn't look, high-end brand, and I want to be that high-end brand. What are your thoughts on that?
I think just start when you're not ready, because you'll figure it out. And there's never going to be a right time to start. It's never going to be a bulletproof marketing plan. You're never going to have it perfectly done. So just start when you're not ready, and you will figure it out, because your audience will give you that feedback. Your story views and your reels and your post engagement will be higher than usual on a post that you didn't even mean to share, maybe. And that's where you keep going.
And out of interest, do you have a team now helping you with a lot of your content, or do you just run it yourself?
I have people helping me shoot TikTok stuff.
Yeah,
because we don't I'm not a TikTok girly. I don't know who does TikTok. It's too young for me.
Nikki's a TikTok girly. She's all across it.
God, I have someone helping me with TikTok, and I've got girls that will sort of give me a nudge here and there. But no, I'm actually needing someone to help me edit. But I'm very hands-on with all of that stuff.
Yeah. Out of interest, are you doing any of the meme type content on TikTok, or are you more so doing product content?
Product content.
Yeah.
None of that meme. No dancing. No nothing. No.
Against that content?
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah.
It doesn't, yeah.
Well, it's interesting, right? Like, a lot of people will see it as eyeballs on my content is great content. It may not resonate for many. Like, if it doesn't align with your brand's vision or your brand's message, then maybe that doesn't work. But some would argue that if something hooks them into your content and they can see more of what it is that you do, that's good news too.
But just be prepared to follow on with that type of content then, because if it's a one-hit wonder and then the next post you post is just, a cooking video and you're trying to sell flour, they're going to be disengaged, and then it will drop your engagement. So then you're back to dancing and doing whatever you do on TikTok, but then you're not selling a product. So people are just watching you be a dickhead. So that doesn't equal dollars to me.
Yeah. Being a dickhead does not equal dollars. I'm with you. I agree. So what would you say your number one factor for success would be?
Authenticity.
Yeah.
But it's also very much getting to know yourself and being comfortable with who you are to go up against someone else that's saying to you, oh, no, I don't like that flower, or oh, no, that's not a real diamond, or oh, no, I hate your haircut. Like, I'm okay. I'm fine. I'll keep on keeping on.
Yeah. Let's dive into that a little bit, because, people might view this as, you can see a market trend, aka you can see what people want. Mm-hmm. In many instances, that notion in itself is about trying to satisfy what people want. Mm-hmm. And some people might view that as if, okay, well, when I put out a product that I like, I want to make sure that other people like that. Mm-hmm. And if they don't, then they can take that quite personally or a little bit impactful for them. Mm-hmm. When you say you're authentic and that is your number one factor for success, how do you transpire that to equal, okay, well, I'm still satisfying a need, or is it that you think people like what you like?
I'm so confident in the fact that I'm not the only one needing whatever it is that I need, that it will work. I know that I'm a good person. Inherently, I'm a kind person. I'm a nice person. I'm a genuine person. And sometimes, like, life is hard and you're like, fuck, everyone's a dickhead. Why are there no more people like me? But I know I'm a good person, so there's surely got to be more good people. Same goes for the business element. I know I need this bikini. Surely I'm not the only one. And you're not. 10 times out of 10, you're not alone. You've just got to have enough courage to keep on going.
As silly as it sounds, at school when people are like, put your hand up, ask a silly question, someone else has thought of it. It's the exact same notion.
Exactly the same.
If you think that you need something, many others in the world are going to need it.
100%. You're not the only one.
Yeah. And so do you feel like now when you look at your following and your audience, are you finding that all of them are engaged because of that purpose, because of that reason?
Yep, all of them.
Yeah. Which makes it so much easier for you to market to.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Because then you're marketing to yourself.
Uh-huh.
It's what you enjoy to consume.
Yeah.
And subsequently so does your audience.
Like-minded people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's perfect. And so one of the things we like to ask our guests on the show is, what's the number one, I guess, what's one issue in today's world that you think needs fixing?
I think it's in due part to social media, how we compare ourselves to everybody else. I was making a reel this morning about this. We are so quick to look what everyone else is doing and wearing and saying and accessorizing and driving and living. It's bringing us down. And so people are looking to podcasts like this and people like me for advice on how to move forward. But really, it's just stop looking at everyone else and just do it. We're looking at people that have 4 cars in their garage and thinking, why don't I have that success? Why can't I scale to that? Why can't I do that? You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. They could have a massive credit card statement and be looking at, a bankruptcy notice. We have no idea, but it looks beautiful because social media is the highlight reel. And comparing ourselves to that type of nonsense, I think, is doing more damage to all of us.
I love this topic, and I want to ask you a question. How much time do you spend in consuming other people's content?
Probably 1%. I don't really look. And then I've got some girls that come to me and they're like, did you see this? Did you see this? I'm like, what? No. Ben Affleck and J-Lo are still married in my head, aren't they?
I'm with you. Like, a I wouldn't even know.
I don't know. I just care about my audience and what they want to see, and I'm not looking at anybody else's because it's not my shtick.
Yeah, I'll repeat that, right? So 1% of your time is consuming other people's content. And I think that is so often reversed.
Yeah.
1% of the time people spend on producing their own content. 99% of the time they're consuming other people's content.
Yeah, and feeling shit about themselves and why aren't they doing this? And
comparison is a thief of joy, right? And it not being good enough is, or it not looking like a certain image is what gets in the way of producing content.
Yeah.
And most certainly what I see with businesses who aren't, I guess, succeeding on the online game, it's very much that's what's getting in the way, for sure.
Yep.
And so I presume if I looked at your screen time would be pretty low, I guess, in that sense.
I switched to Samsung at a point there a couple of months ago just to get it even lower, but I just couldn't do Samsung.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
But it's very low, yeah.
But to play devil's advocate, right?
Yeah.
If you want to stay on top of trends, which in today's marketing world is very much relevant, how do you do that?
I don't really stay on a trend. I keep things current. We're not producing rings that look like they're antique pieces, and I'm not sitting there in a rocking chair. I'm still very cool and very me, and I know what's going on, but I'm not jumping on trends to stay relevant. I just am relevant.
So what inspires your creativity?
Oh, God. I don't know. For the 1 second on this podcast, I'm mute.
That's surprising. Got you.
What inspires?
Because it could be so many different things for people, right? People might need some time to themselves, some time with family, but creativity just doesn't come
it's
out of nowhere, right?
It's stillness for me.
Stillness.
Because when I have a moment to think about my previous reactions or think about things that I've experienced, and I'm like, hang on. And then I feel something, and then it becomes social media or it becomes content.
Because this is what I was sort of pointing to play devil's advocate. Many people look at trends, many people look at consuming other people's content to try and predict where the market is going. And particularly in the jewellery space, we're not in the jewellery space, we're in the boring insurance space. But I think there's no coincidence, maybe this is more not jewellery related, but there's no coincidence that like you go into a Louis Vuitton store or you go into a Prada store, it's the same damn colour of the season. Why is pink the color of the season? Is that set by brands collectively consuming their own content or each other's content and setting the same? How does that come to be?
I think it is. I think it is. They identify what somebody else is doing, so they jump on that because it'll be trending and we'll just all go for it. And that's what it is. It all looks the same in the end. And it's just,
and so it takes some courage
to be different,
to be very different. And you feel like that's worked for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because
I guess, have you got any examples or scenarios where that has come into play for Prestwick Place?
Well, it's the business itself. We were one of the first in the country to do lab diamonds. We were one of the very, very first people to say this is what it is and this is what's going on and take it or leave it. And now here we are. And it's the product itself, which is the number one example to enter the market in such a crazy way, at such a crazy time as well through COVID, and just shock everyone and be here today. And I'm shipping globally. Like I've signed 2 NDAs for Hollywood actors. We just did another one. I don't know if I should say it, but he just had a movie out.
Great.
Like I'm reaching everywhere, which is wild to me.
And I think that was my next question really is global outreach. Marketing and Instagram is perfect for that. How much time and energy do you spend on brand marketing versus product marketing?
50-50.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
I would say 50-50 because the brand needs the product needs the brand. So it's like a tango. They need each other. The product is so different. The product needs to be spoken about and it's not just a fluffy product. I need to identify to the market exactly why our product is different. And at the same time, I need to identify to the market why our brand is different. So it's 50-50.
And I guess take me through getting celebrity names come across your desk, I guess, and wanting to buy your product, are you targeting them, or do they just find you?
They just find me, like Kylie Jenner and Kim K. They just find me, and I'm little old me.
It's funny, right? Because a lot of people would think maybe you had some involvement to reach out.
No,
whether
zero.
it was a sponsored ad or whatever it might be.
Zero, absolutely zero affiliation and anything to do with it.
So take me through the day that occurs.
Well, I'm like, hang on, this name looks very familiar. And then I cross-reference the address and the billing address and the phone number and whatever with Hollywood Finder and Google Finder.
Yeah.
And then I've got these NDAs, which obviously I know who's who.
Of course, yeah.
And then that's it. I'm just shocked. But it's just another job, really.
Did you capitalize on that? Did you market that? Obviously the NDA is probably
the most recent. The 2 NDAs stopped me from capitalizing on the last 2. Mm-hmm. The most recent one that we have done, I'm waiting for, like, by bated breath for the proposal to happen. Nice. So hopefully he does it soon.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, that's super exciting. I'm glad to hear.
Yeah.
And particularly in our business, where we run an insurance business outside of this, we talk about risks every day. That's what I do, with my team. What's a key business risk that you look at with your clients or with your team every day?
I'd say overspending on things that don't need to be spent on. Staff is hard. People think that you need 1 million staff to do all the little things to make it look good, but you just need really good people, even if it's 3. And I would say social media is a big overspend. I would never get an agency to take care or handle any of that stuff. So for anyone that's listening, that's thinking about diving in, do it yourself.
Yeah. Look, I think probably one hot tip I got from an agency, which probably worked well, and then, you can do it yourself, was not to run an ad from your iPhone, because then Apple take 30% of that spend.
I didn't even know that. So there you go.
There you go. Hot tip. Just always do it from your computer. Yeah, correct. So, look, I thought that was a hot tip. But outside of that, I agree. I think the way the platforms are built these days to, I guess, keep your attention on their platform, they're making it so easy for you to know who to put it in front of, how to run a sponsored ad. Most certainly there's an element of you got to produce a very good graphic, a very good piece of content. But outside of that, they make your life pretty easy, right?
And you learn as you go. Don't you want to learn how to do these things for yourself? Heaven forbid you've got a content creator that suddenly dies and then you're left not knowing how to do anything. Will your business fall apart because that person is now missing? Wouldn't you prefer to understand how the pieces of the puzzle work?
So tell me a little bit about the team. What does the team look like these days?
I've got a lot of girls around me at the moment, which is nice because I'm in a household of boys. But very creative, quirky girls that are helping me with socials, administration, and actually some lovely gay boys as well.
Okay.
And I don't know. That's us. We're just a happy little family on the Gold Coast.
And what do you do to, keep your team motivated and happy?
They just are, because I'm me. We're just really good people. Yeah, just being ourselves, I guess. It's not too structured. I'm not breathing down anyone's neck. I'm not expecting too many things. We've all got a common goal and a common purpose. And we're all very clear about our own, way forward, and the brand we all keep in the forefront of our hearts and our minds. So we're working collectively on the brand and we all love it. So that's the recipe. So do you feel as if the team own the brand? Like they really take on the brand of their own? Yeah. What do you think fosters that ownership culture? It's a lot to do with the personality, I will say, because I have experienced a lot of different staff types. Yeah. And I think even today's day and age influences the way people think about a job and how they're coming into a new job space and how it's going to look for them, to better them. You really need someone that is there as a team player that loves you for you and your mission. So you mean your personality and your mission for the business? Yeah. Okay, so people follow or really buy into the Prestwick Place mission and your, I guess, leadership of it, really. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's interesting. That then sort of has me thinking personal branding front. That seems to be a hot topic for everyone nowadays. How much do you invest in your personal brand? Oh, look, I am the brand. I'm the hand in the brand.
Correct.
So at this point, nothing. But at this point, nothing. I'm all Prestwick Place.
Yeah.
So I'm not selling myself.
No, but very much, I'll argue that's the investment. The investment in Rebecca Klodinsky is the investment in Prestwick Place, for sure.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And so tell me about the vision of the business. Where's the business going?
In the beginning, I did want it to be big and like a monster and all of these shiny things. But the further down the track we go, and it's never been about the money, so it's got nothing to do with that. I want to maintain the product that we're putting out and maintain that personality of the brand. And I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want, maybe Melbourne, maybe Sydney, another store. I don't know. But everything is fine. I want to keep the culture as it is, keep the product as it is, grow the numbers, I guess. But as far as the brand goes, we're happy. Okay. And a lot of the time, so many people are like, I want this, I want this, I want this. I'm very clear about like, we're all happy. We're fine. And we don't need that much more.
Right. And in terms of the vision for yourself, is that the same also?
Well, I said to you when we first sat down, I'm on the precipice of a little bit of a change, a shift, a gear shift or something. I'm feeling this burning need to go out more so on a business front from me personally, because I've done so much cool shit. I've been so many places. I've got so much experience. So I'm toying with the idea. I don't know what it looks like. I don't have that blueprint yet. It'll come to me, but maybe female empowerment. I definitely don't want to teach people how to make money, because if you're half switched on, you can do it yourself. So something along those lines. Something's coming.
And do you think it's separate to Prestwick Place?
I don't know. I don't want to step away at this point.
Yeah.
So no, I'm not peeling that skin off. I want to keep them intertwined somehow. But it's definitely business leadership, women. Something's going on there that I need to explore.
Tell us what this itch feels like. Well, where does this come from? How do you sit with it?
It's just, I think at this point, after having so much experience and just seeing so much stuff, going so many places, doing so much cool shit, making so much money, whatever it is. At this point, I'm like, I just want to empower people to be able to make those next steps. And I'm asked constantly. Our DMs are flooded daily with, how can I do this? How can people come into an appointment and they're like, can I just ask you this? How did you do this? And it's a constant thing for the last couple of years, 5 years maybe. Everyone is asking me the same kind of question in a roundabout way. And now I'm trying to scratch that itch, I guess, and do something about it.
And are you finding you're doing that with your own podcast as well?
Yes. So I've pivoted the Prestwick Place podcast just because there is such a huge demand for people wanting to know me. My privacy is my number one. So I'm happy to give out little bits and pieces on the podcast, life experience things. But geez, people are interested.
Yeah. Talk to me about that, right? Because I'm with you. There's a balance between being authentic and sharing everything and keeping things, personal. I'll share a little bit too. Me and my wife just had a 6 month. We've got a 6 month old now. We just had a baby. Yeah, so a beautiful baby girl.
What's her name?
Her name's Bella.
Oh, so
and
good.
Small things like I will not post anything really about. Well, I won't post her face.
Good. I've never done that with my kids.
And so, I'm pretty private with that. If you're in my intimate circle, my team, my friends, my family, sure, you'll meet Bella and you'll think she's the most beautiful thing in the world. I could so easily use that on social media, for a following.
And they do it.
But I just don't see the purpose. I think it's her own personal identity. She can choose when she wants to come to market, I guess, and play. And I hold that back. So talk to me about balancing that authenticity with sharing your personal life, because some might argue that it's not the same thing,
Well, I'm with you with not sharing the kids' names, and we're living in a culture that is kids' faces. I don't even share their names. I've not given it to any media. We're living in a culture that everything is just up for grabs. People post the time, the date, the place of birth, and these are all security questions for banks. Like it takes, and then their faces and their schools. It's just crazy that the parents are so negligent in sharing that. And I will say that, come at me in the comments if you want. I just don't, the children should be off limits. And in today's day and age, I feel like our privacy is our biggest asset. It's just, it should be off limits for everyone. Instagram is a place for marketing, for sharing, yes, but it's not a mantelpiece where you put your kids' first day at school and their first tooth and you're giving birth in a water birth. Like, no. And it's gone too far, and we're also desensitized to seeing this shit that it's no one's got their eyes open anymore.
Well, that's my game, really, from educating the audience from a risk perspective. You've heard of deepfake technology, no. I presume. So a little bit about deepfake technology.
God, am I going to sleep tonight or not?
You'll be fine. But for example, we've had issues where large businesses, their CFOs have been cloned by a technology, and we're on a Teams call with their staff.
Are you serious?
They authorized a payment to be made. So deepfake technology is there, and it's here to stay. It's about how we educate the public so they're clear on it. Putting your kids' faces out there, telling people, or I guess Instagram, what school they go to. It's not ideal from
date. We just bought a house, and in the background you can see the address of the house and your number plate. Oh my fucking God.
Yeah, the list goes on. Yeah, so but you get that, right? Like, one of your biggest strengths is authenticity. Mm-hmm. So a lot of listeners are like, well, I want to share me. And what's wrong with sharing my kids? What's wrong with sharing where I live? But there's a balance, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you manage that?
Well, my boundaries are very clear. It's business. It's adult, and it's just not personal life. I don't want that to bleed into there, because I know once you pop it on social media or you pop it on the internet, it can't be undone. And maybe that comes from experience. Maybe that comes from a lifetime of shit happening and figuring it out as you go along, but it cannot be undone. So just be very clear with that. There might come a time in 5 years or 10 years where you don't want your wedding photos circulating, or you don't want to think that someone's taken a screenshot of your daughter's face being baptized. That's, just think about the long game.
So if we pull it back to, I guess, you being on the precipice of something else and something big, you're going to need some stillness, I think.
Yes.
To explore that.
Yeah.
So what's your process? Are you clear on a process? Do you have a set process? Because you've done this a couple of times now. Mm-hmm. You've gone with Exist. Mm-hmm. You've gone with Prestwick Place. There's another thing coming. Watch this space. What's your process? What do? Do you sit with yourself? Do you spend time away with family? Do you have one?
I have to be still. I'll probably, because now we've got 2 kids, I go to like an adults only kind of cabin place in Byron Bay out in the hinterland. There's like 5 cabins. There's no service. There's no room service. There's nothing there. It's just stillness. There's nothing. I will probably check out and do that again soon. I did that a lot before the second baby came, and he's very small at the moment. But I'll probably just take some time out, and it'll come to me. I won't think about it though. I won't sit there and think about it. When will this thought come? When will this happen? How do I do that? I just won't do that. I'll just sit and be still and play some Sudoku and have like some downtime.
Yeah, nice. Very similar process for me. The team kind of laugh about it. I go on a silent retreat.
Love that. How many days?
3 days.
Oh, have you done 10?
I haven't done 10.
Okay.
Like, I'm not that hardcore.
What's 3 days like?
3 days is perfect. It's like not hard, really. You hand in your phone, blessing, nothing distracting your brain from thinking about the things that you really want to think about. And it's not like you're sitting there going, oh, I have to think about the whole world's problems and issues. But yoga, meditation, stillness, eating great food, and like not having any distractions whatsoever.
Isn't it good?
That for me is what has me wiring of creativity.
Isn't it? Yeah.
And the team laugh because they know when I come back from one of those things,
like, really don't get in his way.
We are on a completely new path.
Yeah. It's
great.
So
I can't recommend it highly enough.
Yeah.
So I look forward to hearing about what's next for you.
Yeah.
You'll have to keep me updated for sure. Yeah. Well, look, thank you so much. It's been an amazing conversation.
You're welcome. I hope you get some good views on it.
100%. And look, naturally, we always sort of give everyone the opportunity. Where can they find you?
The Prestwick Place on Instagram, theprestwickplace.com, and my new Instagram page, Beck Klodinsky. It's on public now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Associates, thank you for joining us today. Please hit the subscribe button if you've enjoyed this episode. And if you'd like to be part of the Associates community, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn to stay in touch. Cheers.